tragedy strikes.
And about that time, people started running again.
At the Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, vandalism on campus being investigated.
It's just not okay, and it's really an inappropriate thing to do.
For being a possible hate crime. Missing teenage girl goes missing in Detroit.
Needs to be home with her family, and we love her.
For over a month. And threats of online scammers on the Day of Love.
Have become an industrial scale operation.
How to protect yourself. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Kenneth Bueno.
I'm Laura Palfrey. Today is Thursday, February 15th, 2024.
Live from the Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Parade panic in Kansas City, where a championship celebration turns into a mass shooting scene. A hometown victory celebration after the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl win took a violent turn.
As CNN's Mike Valerio reports, one person is dead and at least 20 are injured.
A celebration turned into a tragedy. At least 20 people were shot when gunfire rang out at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory rally on Wednesday.
Everybody started jumping the rails and pushing everybody over. We got inside and we thought that, okay, it's calm now. And about that time, people started running again.
Paul Contreras and his daughter Alyssa were among the estimated 1 million revelers gathered at the rally.
It all happened so fast. Everybody was kind of dispersing and going back to their cars. Probably a minute or so later, and you just hear pop, 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 pop.
As the chaos and confusion began to erupt around them, Contreras heard people shouting for help as a man ran by them.
He got close to me. I got the right angle on him, and I hit him from behind. And when I hit him from behind, I either jarred the gun out of his hand or out of his sleeve, because as I'm taking him down to the ground, I see the gun on the ground.
It's unclear if that man was one of the 3 people detained by police. Guns were found at the scene, but many questions remain unanswered.
We do not have a motive, but we are asking those who may potentially have any kind of information, a witness or video, to contact police.
And the one person who has lost her life in this attack, her name is Lisa Lopez Galvin. She was a DJ at a local radio station, 90.1 FM, described as a beloved voice of the Latino community here in Kansas City. Relatives also tell us that several of her family members were at the parade, at the celebration around her, and also wounded in this attack. That's the latest reporting here from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm Mike Valerio. Back to you.
The Gardens Mall in Palm Beach Gardens is open again this morning after gunshots were fired there yesterday. Witnesses described hearing 6 to 10 shots being fired on the afternoon of Valentine's Day. Police shut down the mall for the rest of the day. Officers say it was not an active shooter situation, but instead called it a random act. Several schools in the area were put on a lockdown as a precaution.
Dartmouth College investigates vandalism on its grounds this morning following the discovery of destroyed campus sculptures over this weekend. WPTZ's John Hawks has more on the story.
What is supposed to be a fun-filled weekend with skiing, skating, and hot chocolate was interrupted for some students. Dartmouth College's Winter Carnival, Winter Stellar, a carnival in the cosmos, saw an apparent act of vandalism. 20 or so ice sculptures, or what's left of them, were created during the festivities. One was sculpted by students in Al-Nur, a Muslim student organization on campus. The college's Dean of Students, Scott Brown, says the sculpture was vandalized and destroyed Saturday night. The sculpture included a Palestinian flag as part of the design. Some students on campus are worried about the impact an incident like this can have.
It's worrying when a student group like that is targeted by an individual. It's not a good look for the college, it's not a good look for the student body, and it makes people feel uncomfortable to be here, and that's not something that I want to see.
The dean sent a message to students addressing the situation. It reads in part, "Acts of vandalism violate our community standards, as well as our principles of community. I remind you that each of these calls for sensitivity and respect in our words and actions towards one another. Each also prompts us to appreciate that the diversity of our community provides us with an opportunity for learning and growth. We all need to be committed to cultivating culture of inclusivity and respect." Dartmouth is investigating the incident and says it will hold whoever is responsible accountable. Students are glad the college is taking appropriate action and acknowledging the issue.
Obviously, people may make mistakes, but this is a pretty vile one. And it would be my hope that we would be able to find those students and have some sort of repertory action. And regardless of whether it does happen or not, it's important that we sort of acknowledge what happened and what we can do to prevent it in the future.
WPTZ's John Hawks reports that the college is planning a community meal in the dining hall this week to bring people together and to support one another.
This morning, Detroit police take over the investigation of a missing 13-year-old girl who was last seen a month ago. As WXYZ's Sarah Michaels reports, what happened next is a mystery.
For her to be late, she has never been late coming home. She's always got permission to do things.
Annette Harris is 13-year-old Neziah Harris's grandmother and legal guardian.
When was the last time that you heard from your granddaughter?
When I dropped her off at school, which was on January the 9th.
Neziah is an 8th grader at Clark Elementary School in Detroit, described as being incredibly sweet and a rule follower. Annette tells me when Neziah didn't come home from school on January 9th, she knew immediately something was wrong and reported her missing the next day. Detroit Public Schools Community District's police department has been handling the investigation. That's until Wednesday, when after a month of fruitless searching for the teen, Detroit Police Department announced that they're taking over.
We're very, very concerned.
Neziah is a very sweet child. She really is. You know, and my biggest fear is somebody hurting her.
We don't believe that initially there was an abduction.
Police say they don't believe Neziah was abducted initially, but when pressed, wouldn't answer if they think she went off with someone willingly. Annette tells me that Neziah's school looked at the bus video from January 9th and can see Neziah getting off at her regular stop here.
She got off the bus with her schoolmate and walked up to the corner of Warren and 3 Mile Drive. And one of the school kids said that she turned right instead of turning left, and that's all I know.
Police say they are questioning everyone who knows Neziah. They're working with local, state, and federal partners to look everywhere.
That was WXYZ's Sarah Michaels reporting. Detroit police and local Crime Stoppers are asking the public to contact them with any information that may help them find Neziah.
2 South Florida pro sports teams invade the state of Pennsylvania.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Romance skiing have become an industrial scale operation.
The day after Valentine's can be a lonely time for some Americans, an opportunistic time for online dating scammers. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
FIU wasn't really my first choice, but, you know, I grew up wanting to be a Hurricane, but that didn't work out, so I'm here now, I guess.
Hey, man. Your shoes untied.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Should have done that against Georgia Tech.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
Could you be courting danger while looking for love online? With Valentine's Day behind us, we take a closer look at America's obsession with online dating and the scammers who take advantage of it.
CNN's Jen Sullivan talks to experts about how to protect yourself from falling victim.
More couples are finding their partners online. According to Pew Research Center's most recent data, nearly half of Americans who were single and looking to date turned to online dating. But not everyone finds true love on the internet. For some, what they find is far from a fairy tale. We're talking about romance scams, where criminals adopt a fake identity to gain a victim's trust and later exploit them for money. Dr. Vahid Bezadon says these types of scams are becoming increasingly more sophisticated as technology advances, especially with the use of AI.
The fake persona can have a real-time video call with the victim.
The FTC says nearly 70,000 people reported a romance scam in 2022. Financial losses from those scams in 2022 hitting a staggering $1.3 billion. Amy Nossinger with AARP says older Americans are easy targets for these scammers.
We know that the criminals go where the money is, and older adults do hold the majority of wealth in the United States.
Scammers often use common phrases like, "Someone close to me is sick. I can teach you how to invest. I need help with an important delivery," to scam you out of money. The FBI recommends researching the person's photo and profile. Beware if the person wants to quickly communicate directly instead of online, or if they have excuses to not meet in person. And never send money to anyone you haven't met in person. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The Florida Panthers dominated on the ice again, this time against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Although the game started slow with no goals in the first period, the Panthers took command in the second, scoring 4 of their own. 2 of the goals were made only 34 seconds apart. The Panthers' Anton Lundell led the team with 2 goals of his own, with a final score obliterating the Penguins. Panthers 5, Penguins 2. The Panthers will continue their road trip to Buffalo, New York, and play the Sabres tonight at 7 p.m.
The Miami Heat were also in Pennsylvania playing the Philadelphia 76ers and pulled off a win. With 23 points in 14, Bam Adebayo helped the Heat beat the Sixers right before All-Star break. Tyler Hero also made 23 points of his own, with Duncan Robinson scoring 20 more for the Heat. The final score was Heat 109, 76ers 104. The Heat will go on to the NBA All-Star break and play the New Orleans Pelicans Friday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
CWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Laura Palfrey.
I'm Kenneth Bueno. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.